Hi, my name's Oriolua Aloro, and today I'll be teaching you how to classify different lines. Some of the topics I'll be covering are points, lines, line segments, rays, and angles. So first, points. A point is represented as a dot. Points are used to identify someplace in space. Now, points can be named using letters. For example, point K and point Y. And they can also be found on shapes. For example, point G, point C, and B. Next, we move on to lines. A line goes on forever in two directions. They are indefinite. Now, lines can be named by using points. So if we take a look at this line right here, we can name it using the points A, B, and C. Now, something to remember when naming lines. When naming lines, the order of the letters does not matter, which means you can switch around the letters when you're naming them. Also, the amount of letters named does not matter either. So for example, we could name this line, line A, line BC, or line CA. Another way to name lines is by calling them by their letters, but drawing a miniature line with arrows right above it. So for example, we can call this line AB, line B, and line CB. Now on to line segments. A line segment is a portion of a line. Unlike lines, line segments have a definite length, having two endpoints as shown here. Now, when naming a line segment, these cannot be named by a single letter, but must include both endpoints. So, for example, let's say we're going to name this line segment in here. Now, we could call it line segment YCZ because it includes both endpoints and additionally includes C. We could also just call it line segment YZ because it includes the endpoints as our rule. Now, you can also name line segments by using symbols. Except in this case, you must draw a miniature line without arrows above the letters being named. So for example, we could call this yet again line segment YCZ or line segment ZY. Now, it is important to not add arrows when naming a line segment because it could be mistaken for a line, such as here. This means line YZ. Now we're on to rays. A ray has one endpoint, as shown here, and goes on forever in one direction, like here. It's a mix of a line and a line segment. Now, when naming rays, first you must draw a miniature ray right above the letters, exactly as it coordinates with the points. Second, it must include the endpoint. Now I'll show you what I mean. we'll name this ray. Now, we can name it by calling it ray ABC because the endpoint, A, coordinates right under the endpoint as shown in this miniature ray. Now, if we look at this name right here, we can see this is wrong because, as shown, B is the endpoint, which is wrong. A is the endpoint. Another way you could name this ray is ray AC or ray AB. The only thing you must remember is that the endpoint must always be included in the name. Now, we'll look at some examples. Here, we have a line segment. So therefore, we must put line segment signs above. And we can name this, for example, as line segment AC. Or we can name it line segment CA. When naming line segments, remember the direction can change. Now, we'll name a ray. Here, this is our ray. So, therefore, we add 2 ray signs above. Now, this can be named as ray XZ or ray XY because in both, the endpoint coordinates with its name. Endpoint X here and also endpoint X shown here and here. Now last, we have a line. So therefore, when naming this line, we will add a miniature line above. Now in lines, you can switch the direction any way you want. So therefore, we can name this line DEF, line EFD, or just line F. Now, we'll take a look at this concept, angles. Angles are formed when 2 rays are put together at their endpoints. So remember what rays were. They had one endpoint and went on forever in the other direction. So here, in this angle, we can see both rays attached at their endpoints. So when naming angles, you must use a tiny angle next to them. And the vertex should always be the middle letter when naming them. So here, as shown, the endpoint's name becomes a vertex. So for example, we'll name this. So we can name this angle LMN because as the order comes, LMN, M, which is the vertex, is in the middle. So that's correct. We can also name it angle NML because also the vertex is the middle letter. Then again, we can just name this angle M, but that is only because there are no other angles around it. I'll show you what I mean by this next example we have. So you see this huge angle. Now none of these angles can be named by just angle V because this angle could be angle V, this angle could be angle V, or this angle. So in order for us to name these, I'll put a number against each of the angles, angle 1, 2, and 3. So let's name angle 1. That's here. So here we see there's W, V, and X. So we're keeping in mind that the vertex here must always be the middle letter. So therefore, we can call this angle WVZ because the vertex is in the middle, or we can call it angle XVW. Next, we'll name angle 3. Now angle 3 can be named angle YVZ or angle ZVY because V is still the middle letters. So here, I have a quiz for you guys. Try to recall what each of the symbols mean. So we'll start with this one. This is an angle because it has the angle sign right next to it. This is a line segment because it has a line above GH but with no arrows. This is a ray because it has a ray sign right above it. And last, this is a line because it has a line with 2 arrows over it. Thanks for watching. If anyone has questions or need more help, you can email me at ori.oloro40@gmail.com so I can one-on-one teach you.